Guys, does anybody else find it a little bit, oh, I don't know, odd or maybe in your face giving us the finger when in one of the closest presidential elections in the history of this country, where Trump very, very narrowly beat a black woman by one of the slimmest popular vote margins in the history of the country, that he now stacks his cabinet full of a lot of white men? There's not a lot of diversity there. He did this in 2016 as well. And Republicans have just elected all of the committee chairmen for when they take the majority, when they take the House in January. Every of the 17 committee chairmen is a white man, every single one of them. This is a year when you'd think they get the hint. We have this attack on women's reproductive rights. We have a situation where the Trump MAGA women, when they are no longer useful, they get staircase cancer, they get shipped off to Greece. But if you're a very, very good girl doing God knows what, Trump will empty out a Florida Senate seat for you. Yeah, take Marco Rubio, make him Secretary of State for, oh, I don't know, probably less than a year before he dumps him, just so Laura Trump can have that seat. So what did Laura Trump do? Is it Lara or Laura? What she did to stay in the good graces of the monster in chief, to be, is beyond me. Kimberly didn't work out for her. I wonder if she even knew that she was being dumped. I wonder if she found out that she was headed to Greece to be the ambassador to give lap dances, I guess, since that is what she offers, big donors for big MAGA donors. Yeah, you wonder if she found out at the same time that we did. This is how they treat women. And some of the women are really okay with that. We know that a whole lot of white women in this country were really okay with the misogyny and the attack on women's reproductive rights and everything else about women by MAGA. And I wonder, do they think that it just can't happen to them? When Kimberly Guilfoyle was strutting her not so attractive stuff on stage and dancing, I mean, the videos are endless. You know what I'm talking to. I mean, she offered to do lap dances. She's doing these weird dancing up to the podium at different events. Clearly not aware that her looks have changed, that she is older, and that it's also just unbecoming for anybody in a situation like this. We just don't see this happening, but this is what the MAGA audiences want, or this is what they fed them until they wanted it. Who knows? I think Fox News started that trend with the women there dressing like they are escorts, for lack of a better word, or headed to a disco. And they still do. By the way, in the middle of the day, they dress like this, like they're headed off to the disco right after they get off the air. So they didn't even take a hint. We were so happy. We said we are not going back. You would think that Republicans would try and catch up a little bit, take the hint. Instead, they seem to be doubling down on the sexism, on the misogyny, on taking us back. This was an opportunity for them to maybe blur the lines a little bit and try and get with the program. So what we see now is something that is a conscious effort, a conscious decision to subjugate women back to the 1950s. This is what's happening. They plan on tanking the economy. And the people who are hurt the most when an economy is in a downturn are women and minorities. Women still make less than men for the same work. Women still have to be better. Women still have to be twice as good in order to be considered half as good as men. MAGA wants to make sure it stays that way, or it gets worse. We have Donald Trump's own wife isn't going to have anything to do with him, his third wife. She's staying in Manhattan. She's not going to be there. Not that that's it. Not that being at the White House makes her a feminist of any kind. I think this might be personally a Trump thing, like she hates him too. But Ivanka is hardly a feminist icon. We see the women that Trump surrounds himself with. The whole thing is to look like a Playboy bunny. These are not serious lawyers. These are not smart women. These are not accomplished women. We even have Kellyanne Conway, who used to like to pretend that she was this great feminist, but really Kellyanne liked being the only woman at the table, the only woman in the boardroom. And she liked to play that up even as it became less and less true. She has changed her look to fit in with that Mar-a-Lago look, to look like a Trump woman. Of course, that's also a Fox thing. They have taken us backwards with this stuff, dressing like escorts, dressing like they're headed to the disco. The massive amount of fillers and plastic surgery. Um, Everybody likes to look nice, and I certainly am not going to knock anybody that wants to do something to make themselves look better and feel better. But we all know that this is over the top. And I think it all falls under that umbrella that the future of women is in trouble in this country. And I think the women that Trump rewards and puts forward and chooses to elevate, they would never be anybody without him. It's not like he's finding the best and the brightest and then giving them positions. He finds these nobodies who somehow get in his circle. Gee, we can only guess why. And then he elevates them to this star status. This is what Trump has always done, but now it is on steroids. He finds people in general, not just women, but he finds people who could never get within a mile of these White House jobs or administration jobs or campaign jobs. And he puts them in positions for which they are unqualified, because that way they will do exactly as they were ordered to do, even if it's incredibly horrible for the country. Some of them don't know any better because they don't understand the role. I put Kayleigh McEnany in that position. Kayleigh McEnany had zero actual professional adult work experience in politics before she became a paid political pundit on CNN, and then went to the campaign and then became White House press secretary with literally zero experience. All of the Republican potential press secretaries that Trump could have hired, he didn't care about qualifications. He wanted somebody who would do exactly as he or she was told. And he found someone. Kayleigh McEnany is a nobody. Nobody would know her name had she not been elevated by Trump. He does this with the acting cabinet members, people who are wholly unqualified. But because it's such a big deal for them to get these jobs, they'll do whatever he needs them to do. They'll break the law, they'll lie, they'll do things to hurt the American people. They don't care. That's why they're in the position. That's why they're in the position. Because people who have had political careers or careers in the area of specialty, and they go to work in an administration or in the Hill or anywhere else, yeah, but let's say to be White House press secretary, they have a long career behind them that's their own. It wasn't handed to them by a Donald Trump. They had a career. Certainly becoming a White House press secretary elevates you to a national status. But they have professional pride. Nobody working for Trump has professional pride, because they know unless they lie for him, cheat for him, hurt people for him, hurt the country for him, they don't have a job. Now, he wasn't able to stack his entire administration with people like that the first time. A lot of them he was able to get away with. And then over time, he was able to sort of layer over the people who would leave and put in his own sycophants. This time, everybody working for him is a bad person. Nobody is there this time to say, well, we hope we can help keep the guardrails intact. You know, he had some generals that thought maybe they can keep him in check. People thought maybe we can, make sure he doesn't do as much harm. This time, it is all people who are nuts, people who are bad, people who are evil. And many of them, and I believe Elon Musk is one of them, have a very conscious purpose, working with Putin, to destroy America from within. And I think that Trump is on board with that as well. I do think he's a Russian agent. Everything he does points to that. And we know enough people in the know have said he's been a Russia guy for decades. He's an asset and an asshole. And so now he's been able to surround himself with people who support that. Some of them just because that's the only way they get these jobs, but other ones like Elon Musk, who should be indicted for breaking the Logan Act. He should be punished for that, but he's not. In touch, talking with Vladimir Putin. And Elon Musk has security clearance and is a defense contractor. And we're not doing anything? Of course not. Merrick Garland do something? Democrats do something? Hell no. But I do think that Elon Musk is all about the world domination, see how far he can go. I think he's so high on his money, and he's just a weird guy anyway. He's evil. Because a good person with his money would use it for good. But sometimes people with a lot of money get a lot of money by being not such good people. So the oligarchs are taking over. The richest man in the world is now calling the shots. He's in touch with Putin. He's going to destroy our economy. He's not going to build it back up. There's no reason to destroy this economy, as Elon Musk says he's going to do. He's creating an entirely new government agency to cut other government agencies. Elon Musk is evil. But we are in a position now where Trump and Putin are now able to more openly do this. And the one way that they get a whole lot of these MAGA good old boys to jump on board with them is to make sure that women are kept down in this country. And when you look at these committee chairmanships, all white men are going to be chairing each and every House congressional committee in this next Congress. You think that's just an accident? In the year 2024? Really? No. This is being done on purpose. And they do these things because they're looking at us saying, what are you going to do about it, ladies? Nothing. Nothing. So the only way that women can be part of this new MAGA Republican world and the Trump administration, or one of the Mar-a-Lago women, is if you get the plastic surgery and the lip fillers and dress like a hooker, and do that while, being on Fox News. Kayleigh McEnany dresses the same way now as she did behind the podium, looking like she's going to a disco. Look at how these women dress. This is not professional. Now, one of the things, it's great that we have a little bit more leeway in how we dress as women than men do dressing, but there is such a thing as dressing professionally. And we are way beyond that. Yeah. And now when you see what they look like at Mar-a-Lago, they are cartoon characters. And Laura Trump and Kimberly Guilfoyle lead the charge on that. The women on Fox News lead the charge on that. Megyn Kelly, desperate to get back on Fox News, leads the charge on that. They do this to please the men. They would never go into a courtroom as a lawyer dressed like that. You would never go into a meeting on Capitol Hill as a staffer or as a member of Congress, unless you're Nancy Mace, dressed like that. They're doing this because we are now being taken backwards as women. Sexual objects only. Republican women do not have any power. Trump will not have truly smart, accomplished Republican women around him. The number of women, when he does have them around, are people that we've never heard of before. They have no professional accomplishments on their own to get them in these positions. Because smart women, truly smart, professional women, accomplished women, wouldn't get near that with a 10-foot pole. They won't do it. That's why so many of us that were Republicans back when the Republican Party was different left the party. I left the day after they nominated Trump. And I was an RNC spokesperson. I ran Republican campaigns. I was in leadership. I was a leadership staff or communications director for a committee. Was there all the time in the meetings in Newt's office and Ginny Thomas and all of that. And there were hints of this back then, but you only kind of recognize it in retrospect. But the MAGA world is very different, although the seeds were being planted back then. But some of these women, I knew, and I've seen a lot of them fall by the wayside. And then the other ones thinking, hey, if I want to stay in the game here, I better look like this, dress like this, talk like this. And I wonder what Kellyanne Conway, who used to pretend like she was such, so pro-women, if she has anything to say about the fact that all 17 House committee chairmen are white men. And if she has nothing to say about it, shame on her. Shame on all of them. Seriously. So hang on to your hats, ladies, because it's going to get a little rough. But it's just so disappointing to me because I spent so many years in politics trying to change things for women and being so excited when things did change and thinking that Kamala Harris was sort of, the pinnacle of this. And to see them not only not doing as good as they should, as well as they should at this stuff, but to see the MAGA Republican men who now run this country and Putin and the oligarchs almost enjoy doing this, almost like it's on purpose, just to rub our faces in it. So I hope we get past this Trump era, and I hope that women are able to regain some of the power that we had before this. But this is, I guess it's just one of the many hits we're going to be feeling over the course of the months in the next few years. But I think it's